Hello everyone, welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here with session number 4 of Evermore le Masquerade. This session is going to be titled Of Two Mischiefs. We are running this D&D 5th edition campaign set in the homebrew world of Rosfin that I created some time ago, and in particular this campaign takes place in the kingdom of Gerdes, which is based on the Baroque periods of Spain, France, Venice, with a little bit of Orlais thrown in from the Dragon Age franchise. Very fancy stuff. But as a warning, if mature language and mature subject matter are things that bother you, in particular, this game is going to contain a lot of innuendo and sexuality, and if that's the kind of thing that gets under your skin, well, this is not the game for you to watch. But if those kinds of things do excite you, you pervert, then welcome, because there should be plenty of that in this game. We're glad to have you here. I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can give any kind of introductions that they would like, or plug anything that they might be working on, tell you where you can find them on the internet and things of that nature. And then I think we can get started. So we're going to start with Kenya.
Hey, Internet. Yeah, I am so excited to be back in this game. Like, cannot wait. Just beyond excited. So anyways, yeah, I'm Kenya. I am playing Vera. She is a bard, and you can find me on Sundays on my channel for my game, and then Fridays for Cole's Westocalypse game, and then here, and also over on Jarl DM for my Iskloft game that I'm in over there, and that's next week, Monday, and then we get a bonus session of the following Monday. It's amazing. Great game. Come join us. But yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I just can't even contain it. So exciting.
Very glad to have you back. Yeah, it sucked. We didn't get to play last month. But, you know, holidays and sickness and everything was just wild and crazy for more than one of us, I think. So we had to take a little bit of a unplanned break, but I'm very, very happy to be getting back to this because we left on a hell of a cliff note. Cliff note? Cliffhanger, even. Cliff note of a cliffhanger. We'll get to that in a minute. But super duper excited to get back to this story. I've wanted to run a game in this setting for so long, and so excited to have it off the ground finally, and I couldn't have chosen 5 better players. So speaking of, we're going to roll right through with Matt.
Hey everyone, I'm Matt. I run a YouTube channel called Fistful of Dice, and I write books over at Absolute Tabletop. I am playing Loxley LaCroix, who is a swordsman who dabbles in the arcane and looks good doing it. I'm really excited to be diving back in. I really missed this game last month, so this is exciting.
Yeah, very much so. So stoked. These characters already are so well fleshed out and rounded and in so much fucking trouble. And I cannot wait to figure out how it's all going to pan out. Next, we have Em.
Hi, I'm Em, and you can find me on Dice on Ice Twitch, where we are doing kind of the last little stretch of Curse of Strahd campaign that's been going on for 3 years now, which is incredibly exciting. And I'm so excited to see what they'll do. Probably you die, but you know, that's fine. And you can also find me on, I want to shout out in February, I will be finishing up a Call of Cthulhu game that I was running on Big Bearded Nerd called Silent Sky, which is a space horror game, which has been really, really fun to run. And I will be playing Sylvie Levine, who is not too fond of Guillaume right now, but also in general. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out with them being in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, super excited to figure out how these people are going to improve their situation, or not. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. All right, next we have Austin.
Hello, I am Austin. I generally don't have a lot of things to plug. This is the only game I'm playing in, although I will say that there's an awesome Firefly mini campaign you should be on the lookout for in about 2 weeks' time, 2.5 weeks' time, that Mr. Jeremy is going to be running that I think will be pretty goram fun. I think we're going to get into some real gauchy. But let's see. In this game, I'm playing Guillaume, and he is also a real piece of gauchy. And so we will see how we get out of this situation, which has been on my mind for 2 months now, or a month. So I've got some selfish options. So I hope some of you guys have good ideas. But I'm excited to get into this game. I've been really looking forward to it.
Yeah, Guillaume, in the entire group, out of the entire group, Guillaume is certainly the one that is that has his feet to the fire the most in the moment. But it should be fun, I hope. See how that's going to play out. Yeah, dude, I'm super excited for that Firefly game. I'm going to be running Cortex Prime for the first time, which I'm really excited to dive into. It's a really neat system that I've kind of been teaching myself over the last 2 months or so. And I'm super stoked that you already know a little bit of Chinese because I don't, and I'm super intimidated by that part of the game, but we'll make it work. Yeah, huge Firefly fan, so I'm looking forward to that. Anybody that mentions a channel, you should be able to find the channel in the description down below. Do take the time to go check them out, please. Give them likes, loves, all that kind of stuff. And if you find that one of their links that they mentioned is not down in there, please leave a comment. Let me know. I'll fix that. So, last but certainly not least, we have Karen.
Hello, everyone. I am also known as Myth and Gears. My channel is really quiet right now, so I wanted to shout out the few that M already did. So we'll just shout out it again because that's awesome. So when I'm not here on this channel, you can find me on Dice and Ice for Curse of Strahd, or Big Beard Nerd for our finale of Silent Sky, which has been so much fun and scary as shit. So yeah, that was awesome. And tonight I get to play Chimeran Diego Ruiz Gonzala, who is a delinquent playboy who likes to be the jilter rather than the jilty, and he's kind of not dealing with that very well right now.
All right, yeah. There's no shortage of players in Hidalgo. That's certainly the case. But God, have I mentioned that I like this setting a lot, and I'm really happy with the characters and the players that happen to be on the maiden voyage for this kingdom. I'm really, really stoked. So I think, unless there's any questions or anything, then I think we can go ahead and get started. No, excellent. All right, here we go. Family is defined as all the descendants of a common ancestor. Gerdessi nobility would have us all believing that this connection is paramount to everything else. They are utterly invested in the idea that whose blood runs through your veins is more important than your individual needs and wants, more important than your happiness, your harmony, and even your health. But family, in truth, is not defined by the blood from whence you come, but instead is defined by those whom you would choose to bleed for. We find the 5 of you standing in the dormitories of the local arcane academy. a school that trains a lot of the officers and naval cadets for the Gerdessi Navy in how to employ and recognize magic. It just so happens that Guillaume is a student here, at least sometimes. And you came to speak with an individual known as Revido Bolero. He is someone that Guillaume knows in passing, who was very, very good with runes and glyphs and wards, and you suspected that he may have been involved in the assassination of Torin Agniasa, the consigliere, who was assassinated in Sylvie's shop, right in front of all of you. So you came here to speak with him, to question him, only to discover his body locked in the dormitorium in a copper tub that is ringed with heat metal runes that you realized had been triggered by another glyph that had been cleverly hidden in a note that had been dropped on the floor beside him, which very much sounded like Guillaume himself had penned. It was in his handwriting. It had his family's stationery upon the paper, but he doesn't remember writing it, or at least so he says. Just in that moment, when things look a little strange, there is a burst of noise from downstairs in the dormitorium, and you can hear the booted footfalls of Justicaros, who are the followers of Evandel. These are clerics and paladins who are charged with effectively policing the cities of the world, actually, but this particular branch is known as the Justicaros, and they are being led by Capitan Orocotore, who is an individual that at least Lox knows. And you hear him from downstairs shouting, "Upstairs! Quickly! Search there!" And they are coming with great haste.
Are there windows in these dormitories?
Yeah, Sylvie's looking for a window too.
There are, actually. Anybody who is headed to the window, you can roll me a perception check. You can have advantage on this one.
Dirty 20.
I like that too.
Dirty 20 also.
23.
Fantastic. All right, so as the three of you, Sylvie, Vera, and Chimeran, kind of rush to the window, kind of push open the shutters on it, you hear a shrill whistle come from a rooftop that is maybe 15, 20 feet below you, but connects to the side of the building just beneath this window. At the end of this rooftop, you see a young boy, 8 or 9 years old, maybe, looks dirty, kind of dressed in rags, and he's just kind of removed his finger and thumb kind of from the corners of his mouth when he sees the three of you appear in the window, and begins kind of like waving and like gesturing for you to come to him.
Oh, I'll go. Yeah, I'm not staying. I'm gone. Seems like a good plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
Vera's going to follow. She automatically.
Go ahead, Austin.
Guillaume will see the movement, but first he's going to grab the note. Just gonna snag that note and just stuff that into his pocket, and then he's gonna follow the movement where everyone else seems to be going.
Sorry, I missed it. Where's this kid at?
So out the window, those who kind of went to the window and are looking out, see him on kind of like the end of the ridge line of a rooftop that's 15-20 feet below the window.
Okay, before anyone leaps out the window, I pull a feather from my jacket. So there's like these peacock feathers, and I pull a feather, and very quickly I say, "Sure, foul," and I blow it, and I'm going to cast Feather Fall on everyone. And as they're falling, their rate of descent slows to 60 feet per round. So everyone is like slowly falling instead of plummeting 20 feet.
Excellent. So I almost see this like, they look out this window, this group of 3 at least, and then immediately they start trying to clamber over the edge and kind of, leap forward. And just about that time, I think Lox like comes running up from behind, like collecting the group, and just like all as a clump, they just kind of like come out the window. Some of them may be a little less graceful than others, and maybe a little more worried than others. And then just at the kind of the last moment, everything kind of like stops, and you all just kind of like hover, levitate slowly downward towards this rooftop. Not far behind you, you can hear the doors to Revido's dormitory burst open, and the Justicaros begin flooding into his dormitory to discover a gruesome scene. Within mere moments, you all touch down on top of the rooftops below you. Lox.
Jeremy?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
As we're coming out, as we're floating down, Vera's going to turn around and prestidigitation the window shut so that they can't see that anybody went out the window.
Glorious. Fantastic. Yeah, you kind of, shoot your magic backwards as you're kind of like falling, and, we just see the shutters just kind of slam shut.
Go ahead. I don't think I have time to do this, but I just want to throw it out there is that I also was going to use Mage Hand to like throw a chair against the door to basically like barricade it slightly, so we have a few extra seconds. But I'm also trying to cast Featherfall, so I might not have time to do both of those things, or even like the wherewithal to do both of those things.
Yeah, I think Featherfall is a reaction, and I think Mage Hand is an action.
That's true.
So
I didn't even think
perfectly
about that,
within your 6-second action economy, I would say.
That's fair. Okay, cool. Then if possible, I would love if there's a chair in the room that weighs less than, what is it? 10 pounds? Yeah, 10 pounds. If I could just sort of like push it against the door so that it's somewhat barricaded.
Did you move the chair just so that you could use your chair moving sound?
No, I didn't. But I realized as I was making it, I was like, fuck, someone's going to talk about my sound effect in the chat.
No, I love it. Please move all the chairs you want. So yeah, this very ornate, kind of scroll-backed, velvet-lined chair kind of like slides across the room and shoves itself underneath the door handle. And you can hear them kind of throwing themselves against the heavy wooden door, trying to burst past it. With the filigree and things on the chair, that it's likely not to stand up for very long against such a barrage, but it will buy you some precious seconds. As you're landing, Lox, at some point you get a look at this young boy who's kind of waving, and you recognize him.
Was it one of the kids that I enlisted?
It's one of the urchins that you spoke with earlier.
I forgot about that too. Dope. Okay, cool. So I'll be like, oh shit, I know you. This is it's one of my guys, it's a person that I know. I'm trying to say this without making it sound like it's my kid, but this is a person who has helped me in the past. Get us out of here. We got Justicaros on our tail.
So you have run across the length of this rooftop ridge that kind of sits beneath the window of Revido, and caught up where this kid is kind of waving you to him. And just about the time that the last of you kind of reaches the end of that rooftop, you hear the shutters slam open against the wall, And after a few brief seconds, you hear, there! And you can see one of the Justicaros is his wide-brimmed red hat kind of leaning out the window and pointing a gloved finger in your direction. So, we are going to do a mini game. We're going to do a chase. So this is going to be a skill challenge. The DC is 12 for the entirety. This time you are the prey, and you have pursuers after you. So the way that this is going to work is you are 6 steps ahead currently. It's, abstract. When you make successes, you're going to increase the steps ahead that you are. If you fail, you're going to reduce the steps ahead that you are. If that becomes 0, then you become caught. If you get to the point where you are 12 steps ahead, then we will move into success and what that means. In addition, each time I'm going to ask one of you, and it can be whoever, to roll a d8 to find out what the challenge for that next round is going to be. And that can, one, kind of flavor the part of the chase that we're going through, and also inform possible skills that you might choose to respond to that challenge. So, whenever you are ready, whoever wants to go first can roll me a d8 and set the stage.
That'll be a 2.
A 2. Okay. So, this chase, along the rooftops of Alidalgo, the first encounter, the first challenge of this leg of the race is going to be that there is a very narrow peak. So it's only, a foot wide or something, where the slopes of this roof kind of meet, and there's this flat section that you can run along, but it's only about a foot wide. So take that into consideration as you explain how it is that you're going to try to navigate this next part of the chase, and then we'll get rolls and see how this goes in whatever order that you wish.
Well, Chimeran is definitely not of like a thinking kind of sort, more of a doer. So at this point, small, tiny balance beam like areas are kind of, he's trained on those a little bit. So he's just going to run across, maybe using acrobatics to keep his balance.
That makes great sense. All right, so roll up your acrobatics.
Oh, and I rolled terribly. That's just an
Ooh.
8.
An 8. Okay, so. Oh, yeah?
Think I'm. No, we'll deal with the consequences.
Okay.
At this point, yeah.
All right, so that will move you to 5 steps ahead currently. As you are running along this narrow passage, even though Chimeran is a doer, you realize about 4 steps in that if you slip and fall, like this is a tumble, and then like you're gonna fall at least a story onto like streets or into the canals. And something about that, you get that kind of moment of vertigo where we kind of like do the Zolly where it pans out and like the background gets immensely closer. And you kind of stop for a second, and everybody kind of bottlenecks up against the back of you, and you notice that some of the Justicaros, who have now thrown a rope down that window, are now beginning to climb down the outside of that building, and you can also hear their shrill signal whistles in the streets down below, communicating with one another. Okay, who's next?
I think Guillaume doesn't even really stop when Chimeran stops and tries to like kind of roll over Chimeran, like roll like around, kind of like holding on to him a bit, trying to just keep momentum as he just books it forward. Oh my god. I'm gonna no, okay, well, it's too early. I feel like it's too early. I rolled a 2. And that's not good.
All right.
I don't have many things that I could boost that with. My strength is negative, so
Oh, no.
if that's an athletics roll, it's
Yeah,
that's a
what
one.
skill were you going for?
Honestly, I was thinking he's probably like either acrobatics or athletics, trying to like kind of just
Okay.
sprint through and around.
Is it something that you would do, that Guillaume would do more with power, like trying to push past, or more nimbly?
No, I think this is more nimble. So probably
Okay.
a 4. A 4 overall.
A 4
on that,
then. All right. Well, while that is still not a success, it is not a critical failure, so that's good. However, the chase is narrowed down to now 4 steps ahead, as you can see the lantern light and torches held by the Justicaros starting to work their way through the side streets, kind of narrowing down to your position. Who's next?
I guess because I said Vera was going to follow right away. So Vera is going to. She sees these people, like everybody's slipping on these roofs, and she's going to just try and acrobatics her way through this stuff, kind of watching where they've placed their feet and trying other locations to see if that helps. Actually, hold on. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to go with that. She's paying attention to what they're doing, and I'm going to use perception to see if I can find a better path compared. So I'm going to do that. And okay, it's a 9, but I have a +4, so 13. So I got 13. And if you'll allow it, I would like to bonus action Bardic Inspire Sylvie so that she doesn't go tumbling.
Yeah, absolutely. As a bonus action in particular, yeah. Okay, so we have increased the steps ahead for the chase back up to 5. So, you're being able to maneuver past them. You're able to kind of find a new avenue that's a little bit easier, and, you kind of duck behind, a bit of a terrace that somebody has built up, on one side of this building, and use it for a little bit of cover as you move past. All right, who's next?
I think Sylvie. I imagine Sylvie has that look, that vertigo where the whole world just kind of is tipping back and forth as she's looking at this. And I think it's probably a helpful look from Vera that gets her out of it. And I imagine she just hikes up her skirts, all like 5 of them, so you can see the white undergarments underneath, and she's just going to try and clomp across with pure intention and confidence. So I think that would probably be like athletics. She's not trying to be, she's just trying to brute force her way through it.
All right. Athletics it is. Roll it up. And don't forget your die if you want to use it.
What's the Bardic? What is it?
Probably a D6.
It is a 6 at this point, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Cool.
15.
All right. That's another success. That puts us back up to 6 steps ahead. So you pushing through this new path that Vera had kind of pointed out, you managed to kind of make your way into a little bit of a hiding spot away from where the eyes down on the street would be able to see you quite as well. All right. I think that leaves Locks for this round.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I'm the only one left here. So Locks is kind of in his element, I think. I think this is like very far from the first time that he's like escaped across rooftops from law enforcement. And so rather than just try to like outrun them, because they're all over the place, Locks kind of like diverts. He sees a clothesline, and he diverts, and he just starts like, as he's running, he's like pulling things off the clothesline and just like putting it on, like changing his outfit, trying to look different. And so I'd like to maybe use either like sleight of hand or deception, I guess, might be good?
Yeah, I could see an argument for either one of those.
Okay. I'm going to do sleight of hand because it's my better skill, which is a little gamey for me, but
No,
I also
works.
want to succeed here. So let me go ahead and roll. Aye. 4 on the die plus 5, 9 total. Not a convincing disguise.
All right, so the steps ahead slips back down to 5, and as Lox is kind of yanking things off of this clothesline and kind of putting on this disguise, everything seems to be going great, except that when you grab one of the things, the clothesline snaps and the end of it drops and dangles into the street below, almost with these flags of additional laundry kind of on it blowing in the wind, and you hear several of the Justicaros react. There!
They look up to the rooftop and they just see Lox like pulling on like a different hat, and he's just like, shit, and, like starts going in the other direction.
Okay. It looks like, Kenya, you already rolled our d8. Thank you very much. We're okay. So, this round, some of the Justicaros in the street below have found your path of escape, and some of them have begun to work their way onto adjacent rooftops, and there's going to be a volley of crossbow fire that comes your direction this round. So I'm going to allow you guys to go, or all you folks to go first, and then that will come at the very end of the round. So once again, please describe kind of how you're trying to navigate through this particular danger as we enter into leg number 2 of the chase.
I guess I'll go ahead and go. When Vera sees one of the guys come up and start pulling up his crossbow, I would like to attempt to cast Hold Person on him to at least reduce one of the people that's attacking us. Okay,
so I'll let you do that if you'll roll an Arcana skill check and call it your attempt for the round.
Okay. 15.
Excellent. So that is a success, which increases the steps back up to 6. Okay. And then there's a Hold Person. It's a saving throw. Is it a wisdom?
It's a saving throw. It's a wisdom 14.
Okay. Let's see here. That is a success. It's a 16 on the die.
Oh, damn.
So your spell goes off, but in the haste of you trying to, make this jaunt across these rooftops, something is just a little bit off by with the somatic component. As you kind of like move your hand to steady yourself or something, just one little flick of the wrist you didn't quite finish or something, and it hits him, and you kind of see him shake his head as he kind of started to lower the crossbow, but then he, reaffirms and levels it back at you again. Okay, who is next?
So Sylvie had a similar idea to Vera, but instead she's going to kind of, as she's running, fish out a mirror that she has the ability, and she is going to throw it, which is going to cast this 5-foot radius of light, and she wants to try and blind the archers.
Okay, so likewise, if you'll roll an Arcana skill first.
Okay. That's a 10.
10.
Do I still get Bardic, or?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
it's good for 10 minutes.
So I think Inspiration is a one and done. Bardic Inspiration. I think Bless is the spell that kind of stays around for.
Oh, did you use it on the last one?
Did.
Oh, I didn't realize you used it. I thought you were just asking.
Okay.
I apologize.
I see.
Sorry.
I see.
No, I'm confused too.
I misunderstood.
We're all confused. Our dice are confused, apparently. Okay. So that was you said a 10 total? Maybe.
Can I use inspiration?
Absolutely.
I'd like this to work. I like
Sure.
my mirror ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Inspiration. Okay. That was worse. Never mind. I got a 1.
Oh no. Okay. So, all right, we're back down to 5 steps ahead. There are several more of these crossbowmen that you see kind of appear along the other rooftops nearby, and several of them are closing down in the streets below you. All right, who's next?
So my idea was similar to Vera's and Sylvie's, but not
Sure.
quite the same.
Okay.
What I'd like to do is kind of use my insight to figure out which of maybe these guys are going to shoot first, and that's who I'm going to level this attack at, but it's not really an attack. But I'm going to pull out that rapier of glass that we picked up, and I want to kind of just, I guess, like hold it in such a way that maybe a ray of light can bounce back, shoot through into the guy's eyes, just kind of sparkle at the wrong part to put off his shot. So I would like to use insight to do that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Oh, yay! That's a 17 on the die. So
okay, excellent.
23. Woohoo!
Okay, that puts us back up to 6. And yeah, let's see. So I think, yeah, it's just a reflection of some kind of existing light source. And, you know, as it kind of sheens off of the multicolored glass kind of facets of the blade, we just kind of see this intense kind of beam kind of shine into this guard's eyes, and he kind of flails around, taking his hand off of the front part of the crossbow to kind of shield his eyes from this assault. Okay. Next.
I guess I'll go here. I think Lox is going to try and put some more distance between himself and these Justicaros as the crossbow bolts sort of start sort of bouncing off of things as he's running. I would like to try and like leap over to another rooftop using acrobatics, which is one of my better skills. So please, oh, God damn it. 3 on the die plus 5, 8 total. Oh boy, we might be going to prison, everybody.
Okay. All right.
I can't go back.
We are back down to 5 steps ahead. This is just neck and neck. So yeah, you jump to a different rooftop, and as you land on this other rooftop, like you land on a small little flat kind of section that somebody could come up to, you know, relax on the rooftop. I don't know what you would call it, a deck or a patio. And like just as you kind of land, the door kind of flings open, and there's like 2 Justicaros standing in the doorway, and there's that moment where both of you kind of like stop and exchange looks, and then they, you know, reach for their swords and start to charge forward.
I think there's even like a moment where Lox is able to do like a pithy one-liner before they like immediately like draw weapons on him, and he's just like, don't mind me, sorry to interrupt. Like tries to go past him.
Excellent. All right, who's next?
Okay, so Guillaume, seeing these crossbowmen, and seeing his companions just throwing things at them, trying to distract them or blind them or get them out of the way somehow. He's going to follow their lead, and he's going to cast a minor illusion right behind the row of like whatever the like biggest clump of crossbowmen that are together that seem like they're ready to attack us. And in this city, like what's like a common, like, do they have like urban foxes, like, you know, like violent little like, or like little like badgers or things that like something that might be reasonable to expect to be in a city. I want to replicate
Sure.
an animal roar, like an animal noise right behind them. Something that would be like, you don't want to like keep your back turned to this. Like maybe even just an angry dog sound.
Yeah,
Like something
so
that sounds like a stray.
yeah, Aladalgo is kind of in the middle of a lake, so there's not a ton of like indigenous wildlife here, but you have rats and feral cats and dogs and things of that nature that
Yeah,
definitely
I'll go with like
run rampant here.
a very angry dog noise. I want it to sound like there is like there's 1 to 4 angry dogs right behind them.
Excellent.
Just to try to draw their attention away long enough that they'll have to redraw on us, you know? Okay.
Yep.
Come on.
All right, so roll your
dice.
Arcana.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a 15 on the die.
Okay.
So I think I'm okay there.
All right, so that
It's like
brings
one of the
us
things I'm good at. Yeah.
back up
21.
to back up to 6. The counter that I have recording on this piece of paper is like 6-5, 6-5, 6-5, 6. It's amazing.
Oh, I just
All
saw
right.
the chat. I don't know if I can do sound effects. I got voices, not.
Hey, there you go. Fantastic. I'm scared. It's a drowning dog. That's even worse.
He's rabid. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. I get it. Now I see the foaming. All right. Okay, so they need a saving throw of some kind? Wisdom as
This
well,
is
probably?
Minor illusion. So they can do an intelligence investigation check against my spell save DC if they want.
Okay.
Which is a 13.
Well, I don't think that's going to work. Nope. Okay. So yeah, they absolutely turn around and you can see them, you know, shouting to one another, trying to push each other out of the way. They definitely don't seem to be as interested in shooting you, at least for this round. All right. Is that everybody this round? I don't think that's everybody this round. Did everybody go? Okay, cool. So now that means the crosswomen are going to fire. And I think through all of that, I think Guillaume's action was the only one that's going to decrease the amount of them that are shooting that succeeded. So we're going to call that 2 of them, and that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's still going to be 3 of them that shoot. Let's see who. The first is going to be Chimeran. The second, I'm going to re-roll that because I don't want them all going to the same person. Is Guillaume. And the third is Sylvie. All right, so if each of you would please put your AC in the chat, or just tell me who you are and what it is. Okay, so Sylvie, I saw yours first. 16 is going to hit you. Chimeran, that, however, will not hit you. And Guillaume, 12, that's going to hit you too. All right, so Sylvie and Guillaume, each one of you is going to take 7 points of piercing damage as crossbow bolts unfortunately find you as you flee across the rooftops. Okay, if someone would give me a d8 roll, please, and then we'll head into round 3, or leg number 3.
3.
3. Okay, so you've come to a place where there's kind of a sizable gap. You're going to be crossing like a square or something of that nature, and you can see the only way across is that there's one of those platforms that's being lifted by a crane that has like a bunch of goods kind of on it. So you see a bunch of barrels and crates and things on this. And there's, several people kind of like holding onto the ropes and kind of telling them to lift slowly. And looks like they're going to load it into like a second or third story window. And as you're coming around, you see you're basically going to have to leap onto that platform and then onto another rooftop from there. So, whenever you're ready.
Sylvie takes out what looks to be kind of a very tiny wrench and is going to reach down to the shoes that she's wearing, and she just looks like she adjusts something within them, and she is going to cast jump on herself so that she can just jump to the other roof.
Excellent. Okay. Give me an Arcana roll.
Okay.
And jump doesn't have any kind of like counter roll to it, right? It just happens because it's on you.
My jump distance is tripled.
Excellent. Okay. Then take this roll with advantage, please.
Thank you for the advantage.
You're welcome.
It's still a 14 though, so I'm not sure.
That is a success though.
Oh, good.
All right, so we have increased the steps to 7. All right. So yeah, you can describe what it looks like as your spell helps you get across this if you want.
So yeah, you hear the sound of something clicking within some kind of inner mechanism of Sylvie's boots. And she kind of takes a half step back, and then you see she looks away from the platform and her eyes focus on the roof beyond, and she leaps. And if you look very closely, you can see that there are tiny little springs that come out of the sole of her shoe as she is able to leap across the gap.
Excellent. Spring Hill Sylvie. Okay. So who's next?
So Chimeran will I'd almost like to kind of grab some of these ropes that they're kind of hanging on to do like some aerial maneuvers while going across. And I'm thinking that maybe we do it in such a way that we're actually giving a performance as if I was an acrobat as we fly across.
Certainly. I mean, nothing is worth doing if you're not looking good doing it.
Exactly. So that is a 13.
Okay, that's a success.
Perfect.
All right, we are now up to 8 steps ahead. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, as you make this look good, there's several people in the street that kind of look up and see this happening, and they kind of stop their milling about and form these little knots that the Justicaros who are trying to catch up on the street below kind of get caught up behind, and they're trying to, get through and go around, but they're held up just that little bit of extra crucial couple of seconds. All right, who's next?
So as Guillaume is kind of jumping and scrambling over this thing, he's going to, if I can, I'd like to try to how far behind us, like can the Justicaros that are following us like specifically see us at this moment?
I mean, it's kind of a fluid thing, so it really just kind of depends on how you roll. As of right now, they're able to still chase you, so they're able to see, members of your group at least.
I'm guessing they probably can't see like where I'm planning on doing this. So I want to cast Silent Image on like right next to where the crane is. I want to make it look like there is a board that is laid across the 2 rooftops. Like there is an easy way across that is just a normal board. I don't know if I can. 15 foot. So I think I should have enough be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I just want to make it look like a nice, boring, like piece of wood that maybe the construction people left up here to get across from roof to roof as I run across.
Excellent.
So
let's get the Arcana.
17 on the die this time, so that's
Okay.
a 23.
Fantastic.
And I don't think I need to roll for silent image. Yeah, it's just the same thing where it's an
Yeah,
intelligence.
if they
check.
if they interact with it.
If they
Okay.
use their action to examine it.
Right. Okay, so we are now at 9 steps ahead. So you guys are definitely making headway. You folks are putting distance between yourselves and the pursuing Justicaros, both in the street down below, as well as those who are trying to get good shots on you with their crossbows. So, who's next? I don't think that's everybody from round yet, is it?
No.
Good.
Vera's going to. Can I just persuade the crane to carry me across? No,
I mean, absolutely. Sell me on it.
Oh,
for
seriously?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
You know what? She's going to kind of look over at the guys that are working the crane, and she's going to kind of say to them, excuse me, could you give a little lady some help here? And she's going to see if she can kind of get them to maybe swing the crane a little bit closer so that she can get onto it easier and get over to the other side.
I love it. Perfect. Nothing is more Gerdessi than that. So,
I'm going to use an inspiration
okay.
because I rolled a
Okay.
1.
Oof.
So
Vera can't have that. The Wiles
no,
rolled a
she
critical
can't.
failure. Mm-mm.
And yeah, apparently my dice need to go to
Oh,
fucking
no.
jail. So I rolled a 3 on that one, but my persuasion is a 6, so that puts me at a 9.
Oh, so close. Okay. So that brings the steps back down to an 8. I think that your persuasion of them, while good, they kind of shrug their shoulders. We can't move it. It's stuck in position. And unfortunately, as many of them are like, hanging off the side of the crane, asking where you're going and, wanting to know what your name is, it doesn't seem like it's going to help you, unfortunately. Maybe the charm was too good. Maybe the décolletage was a little too distracting. Okay. Is that the last for the round?
I didn't go
Nope.
yet.
Okay.
Um,
Excellent.
and I am, I believe, just standing right next to a couple of these crossbow wielding Justicaros. I'm gonna fist fight them, I think. So is it possible for me to just do like an unarmed strike for my skill check, Jeremy?
So
Or
attacks
does it need to be like athletics?
I mean, attacks are proficiency plus stat the same as a skill is, so I'm okay with
Mhm.
that. Yeah, you can
Okay,
do it as a
cool.
weapon attack.
Yeah. And I don't want to do any damage. I just kind of want to knock these guys over and,
Sure.
well, a little bit of
Yeah.
damage is okay.
Disney damage.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make the roll before I describe me doing something cool. Let me roll really quick here. Hey, okay, 16 on the die plus 3, total of 19 on my unarmed strike. So I think they both bring their crossbows up, and I grab one crossbow with my left hand and just like jerk it up, and the bolt goes just right into the air. And then I knock the other one aside and just like sink my fist into the guy's stomach, and then grab both of them and just sort of like pull them backwards. And I'm kind of trying to just toss them off the roof and just keep running past them. So it's just like a and just haul ass past their perch.
Absolutely. Yeah, they have these kind of like crimson scarlet robes that they wear that match their kind of wide brim hats. And almost like, they look exactly like the Spanish Inquisitions. They have those kind of like half capes. So you kind of like, sock the one guy in the stomach and he doubles over and you grab both of them. You kind of pull his half cape kind of up and over his hat and, push them both over kind of the partial wall that forms the perimeter of this little patio deck. And you can hear them tumble down those kind of clay roof tiles, and you hear that splash, splash down below as they fall into the canals beneath you.
Oh man, and I try not to enjoy it too much.
All right. That puts us back at 9 steps ahead. And the end of the third leg, I believe. Somebody want to give me a D8 roll, if you would? Pretty please.
An 8.
An 8. Okay. So you apparently are atop a building now that is in a little bit of disrepair, and several of these of these roof tiles are loose. Those curved Spanish style clay, scaled, I guess is what you would call it, rooftops. And several of you are going to find loose footing as you try to cross this particular roof. So take that into account, if you would, while you're describing what skill you're going to use for leg 4 of this chase.
Okay, I'll go first. Maybe I'll use the insight, knowing that this roof is falling apart. Using insight to find the best places to run across without sliding on the loose tiles. Oh, yay. That will be a 15 plus 6, 21.
Okay. Your looks, your examination, your insight of where the best places to step are going to be is a success, and we are now 10 steps ahead as the Justicaros fall behind. Follow me. Okay. Great game series. All right. Who? That's Oddworld. I don't know. I'm kind of dating myself, but there you go. Go ahead, Austin.
If possible, I would like to use. Let's see. Probably, I'm guessing it would be perception. So not a thing I'm great at, but I'd like to just try to memorize where Chimeran just put his feet, and just like follow his path exactly, because he seemed to have found a safe spot.
Sure. I could see an argument if you don't want to use perception for possibly investigation, because you're kind of like examining something closely and repeating it. Okay.
I'm much more intelligent than I am wise, if you couldn't tell.
I figured as a wizard that probably was the case.
Ooh. What was it? One. I'm going to use that one inspiration and try this again.
Okay.
Oh, man. Oh, wait. I'm only shooting for a... Oh, no, that doesn't... That's a 10.
Oof. Okay. Very close. But that will move us back down to 9 steps ahead as the Justicaros catch a little bit of a break. As Guillaume, you try to memorize where Chimeran had just stepped and fall into step right behind him. You swear you stepped in the same exact places, but one of the tiles goes sink out from underneath your foot. You manage to kind of reach out and grab a hold of Chimeran to steady yourself and keep yourself from falling. However, that clay tile slides down off the roof, and you hear that like painful couple of seconds before it shatters on the street below. And you hear once again a Justicaro call out, "Over here! Over here!" Who's next?
This is so nerve-wracking. I'm going to kind of do the same thing that Guillaume did, and I'm going to use my perception to be able to see if I can spot where they're stepping to keep it on point. So, okay. My dice are going to jail. And so yeah, that's a 7.
Oh no. Okay. The steps ahead has slipped back down to 8 as several of these tiles slips out from beneath Vera's feet and crash on the street down below, almost in the exact same place that the one from Guillaume had fallen. So they're definitely starting to hone in on where your group is and close the gap. All right, who's next?
This might be, feel free to say if this is dumb, but could Sylvie use history to try and recall the great event that was Chimeran successfully making it across these
I think that's brilliant. I am a great event.
So I'll give you you can recall possibly, depending on what you roll, the event that caused this house to fall into disrepair, and maybe therefore identify what would be dangerous and what would not.
Okay.
Not to take away Chimeran's status as a historical event, but
it was.
It was said. It's canon. It was a great event.
There's some bard underneath who's just writing a song about Chimeran. Oh, that's
feverishly walking sideways, just just pinning this whole thing. Again, very Gerdessi. You said a 20 something?
23.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. We are back up to 9 steps ahead. All right. Once again, you're able to make some progress, and you can kind of, point out, no, here, as your companions are kind of having to follow, and you're putting a little bit of distance. Will it be enough? We'll see. Who's next?
It's all up to you, Lox.
Okay.
So Lox has thrown these two Justicaros off the roof of this building. He runs to the end of the eave and sort of drops into a slide down the eave of this roof. And I'm going to try and catch a gutter, slide down into the alleyway, and just disappear into the alleyway, just back against the wall with a stealth roll. So here we go.
Perfect.
Oh, come on. Oh, Jesus. We're going to use inspiration because that's a 1. Okay. 18 plus 5, 23.
Excellent. So describe to me how you almost got caught completely out in the open as if a critical failure, and then just something divine or something otherwise intervened and you succeed.
So I think that as I'm sliding down the gutter, it kind of pulls away from the wall a little bit, like one of the nails holding it in, sort of and it kind of, and I slide down, and I'm sort of behind this crate in the alleyway, and there's a Justicar running by, and he's got his crossbow, and he hears the wrenching of the gutter, and he starts walking down the alleyway looking for me, and then one of the tiles smashes in the distance, and he runs off in the other direction, and Lox kind of eases out of breath, and then realizes that tile was probably one of his friends, and now the Justicar is going to get them. So he feels less relieved, but he's at least out of sight now. So
okay, that was the end of leg number 4 of the chase. So if somebody will roll up a d8, we'll figure out what awaits us in leg number 5.
A 1.
1. Ooh, okay, it's another volley of crossbow fire. All right. So you have apparently reached a point where the majority of you, at least, are kind of out in the open and are having to cross a distance where you're going to be susceptible to some of these Justicaros, who, though long distance, are going to be trying to pelt you with crossbow bolts.
Would Sylvie be able to use investigation now that we're kind of? Are we still on the rooftops?
Yes.
Are we kind of more okay?
Lox is in the street, but the rest of you are still on the rooftop.
Right.
Okay, I have an idea. I'm going to use. Vera's going to attempt to do some sort of crazy dance performance to hopefully make herself blurry to them or harder to hit because she's like dancing and twisting and spinning and kind of trying to almost get ready to matrix these arrows that might be coming at us.
Okay, so maybe the section that you're running through has another one of these kind of rooftop balconies or something that has a bunch of loose fabric that's kind of draped around to make it kind of somewhat private. So you kind of spinning around is literally you taking these, pieces of fabric and furling them out so that they kind of create a little bit of a difficulty in targeting you.
Okay. I am so scared to roll this dice. Okay. I got a 7, but that's okay because my performance is an 8. So 15.
Huzzah. Okay, that's a success. That brings us up to 11 steps ahead. That means...
So...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, whoever was going to talk next, I wanted to bardic inspiration to Guillaume because he's been hit by an arrow and he's a wizard and not very balancy, so I'm just hoping he can. Yeah.
So Chimeran, seeing what Vera's doing and those lovely fabric maneuvers, is going to use that to deceive the Justicaros on the way that we're going and make it look like we are going one way when in fact we disappeared down the other way to the street. So I would like to roll deception.
Sure, that sounds perfect.
Oh, yay, I got 18.
Fantastic. Okay. So yeah, you, Chimeran, following the precedent set by Vera, go about kind of swirling these fabrics around, and just through masterful use of shadows and lighting, you manage to make it seem like your group is moving in a different direction. And apparently, with the distance that you had put between yourselves and those that pursued you, as well as this last little trick, you all managed to get away. But at some point, you find yourselves kind of in a corner. There's Justicaros kind of running and roaming past the street. You find yourselves, though free, and with them having no line of sight on you, you're kind of boxed in. You're not really sure where to go. However, just at that time, you hear another shrill whistle. And looking down in the canals below, you see a gondola that has pulled up to the side of the building that you're kind of in, beneath you. And that young boy, that urchin, is in the body of the gondola. And the gondolier has pulled back this large tarp, this canvas tarp that was covering the majority of the boat. And you can see that there is ample space that all of you could fit into. The young urchin is hiding partially underneath this canvas tarp and is motioning for all of you to follow.
Oh, Vera's just gonna head under this canvas tarp thing and thank you, darling. I appreciate that so much. Kind of.
You can appreciate it by showing me how much. And he kind of points to his little grubby paw.
Guillaume will get it for you.
I was just gonna say Guillaume is like smiling, and he'll hand him a silver and say, "I like this one."
He kind of looks
Guillaume,
at
don't
it.
rip the boy off.
He'll drop 2 more silvers into the boy's hand.
He kind of like shrugs his smudged face, and like very quickly the coins disappear. Is anyone not going into this gondola? Okay. You all kind of get down into the belly of this gondola. The gondolier kind of looks to all of you and kind of nods without saying a word. The moment that the last of you kind of ducks down beneath the rim of this gondolier, this gondola, he tosses the canvas tarp over the lot of you and very casually uses his pole to push his gondola away from the building and begins to slowly stroll through the canals of Alidalgo. You hear the Justicaros racing past on the footbridges that connect the streets and separate little islands, if you will, that form the city. And it becomes very clear that they have no idea where you have gone. And as you continue on, their shouts and the shrill whistles of their signal whistles get fainter and fainter. The gondolier, meanwhile, begins singing, and you're struck by the fact that this man has an absolutely gorgeous singing voice. And especially with the acoustics of the buildings around and the narrow canals, it echoes and harmonizes almost with itself. And he sings a great many songs of the kind of things that Gerdessi people sing about: love, lust, betrayal, the kinds of songs that many of you grew up with. And as you stroll along, those of you who are listening close enough realize that he stops several times, just kind of slowing down, getting near a bank as you pass. He hands bread to a group of paupers. They all thank him. They call him Saint. Thank you, Saint. Continues on a little while further down. The urchin looks like he is ready to depart from the gondola. He slows near a ramp, and as he does so, he hands the boy a sack that is heavy with coin and a bottle of wine. And the boy kind of says, "Thank you, Angel." And then he turns and darts off to melt into the streets. A third stop. He hands a bundle of candles to a woman who seems to be running an orphanage in the city. Maybe some of you even know who she is. She thanks him as well. "Thank you, Saint. May the gods bless you." And he continues on, all the while singing these songs. While you travel this way, hidden underneath this canvas tarp, through the night canals of Alidalgo, before you head wherever this gondolier is taking you, is there anything you want to say or do?
I would keep my voice low. Seems like we may have found this saint of rats that we were looking for.
Yeah. I hope that we didn't jump out of the fire and into the rat pit.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'll take whatever we're rowing into over rotting in a Justicaro cell any day of the week.
It is true.
Is the urchin in here with us, Jeremy?
He was for a time. The second
Okay, but
kind
he
of
hopped
stop
out.
of the boat, yeah, he would have hopped out, but you had
Okay,
time
cool.
to interact with him beforehand if you wanted to.
No, I don't think I would have any questions for him. Lox would start removing the pieces of clothing that he was hastily throwing on in the chase. There's like a blouse and a hat and a few other things that he just like takes off, and he like starts to give them to Sylvie, like, you want these? And then he's like, why would you? And he just kind of balls them up and puts them in the bottom of the.
You think that she's not going to take them, but then Sylvie, yeah, you never waste good fabric. Give me that. And
All
she's
right,
just
I
going to
hate-
take them from
All
from
yours.
Lox.
And consider it a gift.
Vera's gonna reach up under her skirt where she always keeps that little pan flute that's in the garter under her skirts and stuff, and she's gonna pull it out and she's gonna start right before she gets ready to play. She's gonna kind of lean back a little bit and she gives Guillaume this sideways look and she looks at him and she goes, so do you care to explain to the crowd what that was about? And then she just starts playing very gently with the guy that's singing, but she's not trying to overpower him. It's more only to compliment him.
Yeah, upon being asked this, Guillaume is going to pull that note out of his pocket, and I don't know if there's enough like ambient light or if I can kind of like lift just a little crack or something to be able to. I just want to like look it over. I'm looking for a small black rose symbol somewhere on this paper. Is there anything that looks like that?
So, yes, I think, if I'm remembering right, it is a rose or a lotus or something like that.
Oh yeah. There's a black flower.
Black flower. Yeah, it's kind of opened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now that you have time to kind of look this over a little bit, you notice that one of the, the places where it looks like a little bit of ink might have been dolloped on the page. When you look closer, it is actually a very, very small little lotus flower.
Oh, and he just starts kind of fuming for a moment, like that duplicitous. How this is a new level. She's done things before, but this is too far. Lavinia.
The gondolier, kind of between breaths of the song he's singing, just kind of says, "Quiet, my friend, quiet."
Lavinia is setting me up. I don't. Oh.
And who is Lavinia? A jilted lover? Your sister?
Your ex-wife? What are we going for here?
No, none of those things. I mean, I guess I would consider her a rival of sorts. She's always sabotaging me. But this is beyond. She's never done anything like this before. This is insane.
So you're saying she's setting you up?
I mean, look, and he'll hold the paper out. It's like, you see this? Every time she's been responsible for some calamity, she leaves this somewhere. I can find it. She knows I'll find it. And he's got like a crazy look in his eye. Like he looks like he's talking about like chemtrails right now.
Yeah, you're
It's like,
portraying it well. We're catching it.
Everything that has happened in my life, everything that's gone wrong, it's Lavinia. She is behind all of it.
You know, the first thing you should do is probably take ownership of your actions and the consequences they bring, instead of blaming everyone else.
Do you really think I would be so stupid as to kill someone and leave a signed note with my name on it? I'm a lot of things, but stupid isn't one of them.
You don't want us to answer that question.
It also doesn't matter what we think. What matters is that you've been set up, and the Justicaros saw all of us there. And I don't want to freak anyone out, but I recognized one of the voices. Rocatore, captain of the Justicaros, was there. This was
How did they get there so quickly?
Vinny, I'm telling you, she set this whole thing up. She must have been watching the place. She must have known when we were going. The second we walked in the building, she must have known and gotten them.
She hates you that much, huh?
I don't know why. I can't imagine a reason anyone would. Ugh, he's just disgusted and huffy.
I could literally sing you a song about why, but that's not the point. The point is, you expect us to believe that this woman hates you so much that she set up an elaborate plan where we were seeing runes all over the city on magical items in order to kill someone just because she doesn't. Two people, just because she doesn't like you.
Like, why would she just kill you?
Exactly. It'd be much easier to just, and honestly, way more beneficial to just not have you be a problem.
Now, hold on. I'm not saying that this whole thing is because of me. I'm saying that Lavinia is involved and that I was set up for this particular murder by her. That's all I'm saying. That's all that I have proof of. Now, maybe she's a smart woman. She's probably trying to better her name, trying to move up. She's doing what we all do, but she must have fallen in with someone with grander plans. I'm not saying I'm some, special thing so, important in her life that she would go out of her way and create this entire conspiracy, but I'm saying that she's the kind of woman that if she was already involved in a conspiracy and needed a patsy to take down for a murder, I don't put it past her choosing me.
But why? Aside from not liking you, what does eliminating you do for her?
Maybe they needed him dead and they just needed to blame it on someone. Or maybe they know that we're looking into this. Or maybe she really just went out of her way this time to try to fuck me over. I don't know. But it seems extreme. I'm not arguing with that. This seems like a bridge too far in our social rivalry that has been, up until this point, mostly bloodless. One or two minor duels, but no one was seriously injured. I think that that finger was reattached.
In any case, it's at least a lead. We know where to go next. Even if she's not involved, she might know something.
I agree with Lux. Once we are getting wherever we are getting and we are our own peoples again, yeah, we should probably check this out. Yeah, you could introduce us all to this Lavinia.
Hey, Miss Saint, Mr. Saint of the Saint of the Rats.
You kind of peek your head out from beneath the canvas start, kind of get a good look at this this man for the first time, and you see kind of a very roguish individual, somebody that Lox is probably not unused to dealing with. He has this very finely procured mustache that's waxed and twirled. There's beads in some of his hair and in his beard. He's pretty well dressed for a gondolier, but not ostentatious. He doesn't come across as nobility. He just comes across as maybe being smart with his money. He kind of looks down at you and winks with a gold tooth in his smile, and he says, "Yes, is there something I can do for you?"
Mostly just wondering where you're taking us. I appreciate the ride, but it'd be good to know where we're going.
He nods his head subtly, so as maybe someone who were to witness him would not necessarily pick up on the gesture. He says, "Ah, yes, I am taking you to the court of the Forsaken, of course."
All right, that is a little foreboding, I have to say.
No, friend. You will be safe here, I promise.
I strangely believe you. Okay, thank you. And I put the canvas down, and I, back in the gondola, I'm sitting there and I go, "He's a good-looking guy. There's a handsome man up there." He said we're going to the court of the Forsaken.
Any of you who wish to, you can roll a history check. There's not really a streetwise, I don't think, which is a shame. So I think history is probably best. If you think your character would have particular knowledge about the street, then you can have advantage on this roll. Okay, so we got Sylvie with a 14, Emarin with an 11, okay. Guillaume with a 14, and Lox with a 21. Those dice turned around. Yeah, excellent. All right, and Vera with a 19. Okay, so I think actually probably everyone except for Chimeran has likely heard of the Court of the Forsaken. Though I think Lox and Vera, only the two of you realize that it's a real place. So whatever knowledge that you have come across before has led you to believe that it actually exists. I would say that Guillaume and Sylvie's knowledge of it is more legendary, mythical. Like, you've heard people talk about it, but it's always, the description's always changing, the location is always varied. You don't have any hard, fast evidence that it exists. But those of you who recognize the name, it's very much a den of downtrodden, a place where the less fortunate gather and kind of form a community of their own, where they don't have to rely on the law protecting them or normal means of gaining what they need. It's definitely also known as a place where a lot of thieves kind of tend to congregate.
Well, there is one thing that's good. We won't have to worry about the Justicaros being there. So we'll be safe from that. But I would keep your coin purses close, and anything valuable, tuck it in safe.
You see Sylvie tuck in that extra fabric that Lox gave her, like, in further into her dress.
This might be the type of place too where we can really hear some whispers about what might be going on here. So we should keep our ears open and tread carefully.
Guillaume will just he's still got the the walking stick with his orb attached to it. And he's just gonna kind of tap that to his forehead, and this like kind of light shimmer will spread out over him as he casts mage armor on himself to just be a little extra careful.
Is Guillaume's? He's bleeding pretty bad. You got hit, right, with an arrow, didn't you?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Here. Ta! And he's gonna yank it out. Start putting pressure on the wound. It'll be good.
She just kind of, you are such a fool sometimes, and fling her hand at him, and I'm going to cast Healing Word on him at first level to give him some HP back.
Excellent.
So that is 6 HP.
Oh, thank you. And it closes up almost all the way. There's just like a slight trickle of blood left, but
Anyone else, or is everyone okay?
I've got a little dust on my shirt. If you could take care of that.
She pressed digitations it away. She's like, oh, of course, and just
Thank you. Much obliged.
anything.
I imagine Chimeran is just as put out by the dust on his jacket as Guillaume is about this hole in his leg. Perfect. Okay. You continue along the canals of Hidalgo, hidden beneath the canvas tarp of this gondolier. And at some point, you can feel the boat kind of turn and slow down. And his song changes to a song that is sung by lovers wishing to court the affections of their heart. And he begins singing louder than he was before. And as he does so, anybody who might dare to peek out from beneath the canvas, you can see there's a wall of roses ahead of you. You might recognize these as Navaronian hanging roses. They're these kind of popular roses that are able to be planted in boxes on a second story, and they grow downward, hanging almost in a curtain. And he's singing, and you realize that above this wall of flowers, that there is a florist above the shop. And you see the gondolier with a rat on his shoulder, who he has just finished feeding some hard cheese to. And he brushes his hand against a nearby bridge, and you see the rat climb down his arm and disappear into the brick. And as he sings this song, eventually a woman approaches the window of the florist shop above this curtain of roses. And she looks down at the gondola and the gondolier, and she joins him in song, singing almost a duet, this love song together. And as she does so, you notice the same rat appear from almost nowhere within the shop and climb up to her shoulder. And it ever so slightly looks like she leans down towards this rat. And then as she does so, she very subtly again gestures her hands over this planter's box full of Navaronian hanging roses. And when she does so, this wall of roses parts like a curtain, opening into an empty space beyond where it looked like it was simply a wall. The gondolier continues to sing and kind of nods and gives a grandiose kind of bow towards this woman, and rows his gondola through this curtain, which then closes back behind you as you pass through. As you do so, the gondolier says, Okay, my friends, I think it is safe for you to come out now. I am certain that you are very stuffy beneath that old moldy tarp. Forgive me.
Oh, it's moldy? Oh. Guillaume is
Well,
going to kind of start pushing it off of himself.
we do live in a place that is full of canals, after all, sir. My lord.
Oh, Lux is right. You are a good-looking man.
Well, many thanks to you. The name is Armand Gualtiero. There are some who insist upon calling me the Saint of Rats, or perhaps you have heard of me called the Angel of the Canals. But, regardless of what it is you wish to call me, I am here to serve you.
You seem much loved by the people of this city.
Well, it is a good idea to have people on your good side. Typically, I have found, you find far less trouble if you are kind to people. Plus, if the people of El Hidalgo were to rely on those in charge to take care of them, well, we all see how that ends.
I appreciate you getting us out of there. I'm not sure that we would have been able to outrun the Justicaros without the assist, but I have to ask, what do you get out of this?
Ah, yes, yes. We will discuss things as they come up. But for now, consider it a favor done for a friend. You and Capitan Rocatore is certainly no friend of mine. If you are running from him, I think perhaps there is a good reason. And especially you have shown that at least twice you are more willing to escape than to deal with the Justicaros.
The captain is no friend of mine either, so thank you.
Of course, he is a cruel bastard.
Yes, no friend of mine either. I mean, I do see him at social events, but I don't interact with him. We're not on friendly terms or anything. He's not a friend of mine.
Well, that's good to know. I would hate to have to kill you. And he kind of smiles with that golden tooth again in your direction, Guillaume.
And he just gives like an awkward smile back, like, yeah, oh, good.
I am joking. I am joking, of course. But if I had to, I would.
You would try. And maybe succeed. I have no idea what your fighting prowess is. So let's not get into that.
No. As I said, we are friends. We are friends. Something to drink? And he kind of like gestures to a small box that is not far away from where you are hidden under the tarp.
Oh, yes, please.
Not mind if I do. Thank you.
Of course.
Obliged.
It is a bottle of Elven Moondrop wine. So I think you will find quite the taste for it. I hope, at least. There should be glasses, and he kind of like points. And though there are very nice glasses, they're mismatched. It's not, a perfect set, but they are all clean. And the Moondrop bottle, the bottle of Moondrop sits right beside them, sealed and ready for you to uncork.
Yeah, Chimeran will uncork it, will pour some glasses, pass it around to whoever would like to take one, giving one to Guillaume, of course. Locks, Sylvie, Vera, whoever wants one, and then pours one for himself. Cheers.
Armand, Armand kind of looks your direction, Chimeran, and says, if you wouldn't mind, indicating that he would also prefer a glass.
Absolutely. We'll give him the best glass that's left and fill it as full without spilling, because that would be rude.
He pauses from his rowing for just a moment to kind of step down from the little platform at the back of the gondola and raises his glass towards all of you in toast. If I may be so bold, to friends and the family that we choose. And he kind of like nods to all of you.
Chimeran will raise his glass.
Vera will raise her glass also.
You travel along through this underground passage. Beneath the Aladalgo that you know, you can sense the life of the city continuing above you with no knowledge of you passing directly beneath their feet. Now that you're out from beneath the canvas tarp, you see that you're now in a flooded version of the city that is older than many of its eldest structures. The once ornate craftsmanship shows every crack and the decay of abandonment each and every place that you look. And you can see that exquisite buttresses and reliefs now form the ramps and the walkways and dens for rats. Their dark shapes clamber to and fro everywhere your eyes can pry. And you pass beneath grand archways and between magnificent carved columns through the ground level of a city that once was.
This is quite amazing. Very beautiful.
I always remember
Yes.
hearing as a kid that Aladalgo was built on the ruins of cities that came before, but I had no idea this stuff was still down here.
There are quite a few levels even beneath the waters, so this level here is probably not going to remain unflooded for long. But water is good here in the city of Aladalgo. It allows us to get to places that some people have forgotten about.
Where are we heading now?
As I said, we are headed to the court of the Forsaken. We are almost there. So, if you have any last-minute preparations, please finish your moon wine. It would be a shame to let it go to waste.
I did not realize the court was all the way down here.
It is sometimes best to remain outside the reach of certain arms, perhaps even the arms of the Justicaros.
Chimeran will adjust his mask so that it is, in case it had gone askew a little bit during the chase, he's making sure it's perfectly in place and covers the proportion of his face. And as such, he's like to use a sleight of hand to make it seem like he guzzled the rest of the drink without actually drinking it.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll your sleight of hand.
That'll be a 21.
Deftly, you kind of make as though you're kind of finishing the glass and then casually kind of pour it over the side of the gondola into the stream. And he does not seem to notice.
Guillaume is going to make the rest of his wine disappear down his throat.
All right. I'm not going to make you roll for that one. That's pretty easy to succeed on.
Yeah, I want everyone to know he's not hiding it at all. No sleight of hand necessary.
Excellent.
Lox also finishes his drink in the traditional method.
As does Vera.
All right. Eventually, the boat kind of slows, and he turns the gondola aside to moor it to a small, like, kind of outcropping of rocks. It looks like at one point it was the base of a stone staircase that likely leads to some higher floor above this. And he moors the gondola to a few poles that have been kind of placed here, tying it off before he then hops onto the stairs and says, well, we are here. Just a few more paces to walk, and you will see the court of the Forsaken for yourselves. Many, I think, perhaps for the first time. He kind of seems maybe proud, pleased with himself. You get the feeling that Armand is likely pleased with himself a lot.
Are there any other people here that are about, or is it empty completely?
Right now, you have not seen any other people. I would say you could probably hear voices, though, echoing down here, because a lot of this is stonework, and water does not absorb sound very well. So I definitely think that you're hearing the echoes of people talking.
Is he going to walk with us, or is he leaving us there and going? Is he just dropping us off?
It seems like he's going with you.
Okay.
All right. So as
Vera,
you,
when she gets out, when Vera gets out,
please.
she'll make sure she uses she'll take his hand and kind of step out very daintily, but making sure she makes some sort of contact with him.
Sure. He absolutely will offer his hand to help you down, very much kind of in the way a gentleman might. And when you do so, he then kind of gives you a very deep bow. It's definitely not the bow of a noble, but it is certainly practiced. Okay. And as you disembark from the gondola, and before you reach the court of the Forsaken, I think this is where we are going to take our break. So, we're going to take a quick 10 minutes to go to the bathroom, refill your drinks, smoke them if you got them, kiss your spouses, etc., etc., and then we'll hit it running. I love this game so much. Thank you all so much for watching so far, and thank you to these 5 phenomenal players for always taking whatever I throw at them and running with it, and then building on it and making it just delicious. So, yeah, sit tight, and we will be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of tonight's session number 4 of Evermore le Masquerade, titled Of Two Mischiefs. So far, we have caught up with our heroes who were caught red-handed with their second noble corpse in not that long of a period of time here in the city of Aladalgo. The Justicaros, who are the followers of Evandel, the somewhat police force here in the city, gave chase. Several of them were injured, but they narrowly managed to slip their pursuers and ended up in the company of none other than the Saint of Rats, a man by the name of Armand Gualtiero, who Lox had heard a little bit of from the urchins that he had touched base with before. An urchin, in fact, led them to his company. Hidden away in his gondola, they have now rowed into a hidden part of the city towards a fabled location that is known as the Court of the Forsaken. So as you are disembarking from this gondola, Armand is leading you by torchlight down some narrow hallways and passageways through these ancient buildings that are in disrepair, but they are traversable and they are away from the prying eyes of the law. As you move through these tunnels, he continues conversation with you, and the noise of echoed talking that you could hear is growing louder with each step. Is there anything that you would like to say or do before you arrive at the Court of the Forsaken?
I think I would just say to everybody, let's all stick close, watch each other's backs, and I look at Guillaume and I say, and try not to talk so much.
Yes, let's all keep our mouths shut on this one.
Yes, I was talking to all of us and not you specifically, Guillaume.
I know. Why would I think you were talking to me specifically?
Vera's gonna look over at the saint, and are there any particular customs or rules or things that we can trespass?
No, we are a very friendly
What is
folk.
consult?
We are here to welcome you with our open arms. However, I would refrain from trying to steal anything from anyone. And he kind of like takes a step and then turns around. You probably should not try to start a fight with anyone. We tend to stick together. We are a very tight-knit group. As I said, we are pretty much a family. So you continue onward for maybe another, quarter of a mile through these kind of winding tunnels and things. All along the way, you still see these rats kind of moving along the edges of the floor near the walls, in and out of the architectural features that form a lot of the ceilings above you. None of them seem interested in messing with you at all, but there is a ton of them down here, and they are just every which way. You have to step over several of them as you're making your way and things like that. But he doesn't seem to pay them any attention, really. Maybe occasionally stopping and whispering to one of them and then listening to it as if it was replying, and then continuing to move on. Sometimes laughing, sometimes nodding as if he was just told some kind of piece of information. But all the while continuing whatever conversation it is that you're having. Eventually, you step through an open doorway and around a corner, and there you find yourself suddenly bathed in the warmth of lamplight and torchlight. And in this open space, all manner of ramshackle buildings have been thrown together here against the walls of the interior of this almost like a sewage system. There are people everywhere here. People selling wares, people, taking their children this way and that, people conducting business and pleasure. Kids are playing. This looks very much like any square that you would come across in the city above. It just so happens that this is entirely beneath the streets of the city that you know.
Do we look out of place? Like, is the fact that we live
Some
above sea,
of
like, is
you.
our dress significantly different, or?
I would definitely say that some of you do, because a lot of you dress to impress the upper crust of society. Down here, there is not much of that. Again, there may be people who are adorned a lot like Armand with jewelry and things of that nature, but their clothing is much more perfunctory.
Actually, on that topic, I think Locks, as we're making this final sort of walk toward the court, he like takes off his coat and turns it inside out so you can see like the seams, and it like kind of looks a little rattier. He'll take the sort of brass piece off of his eye patch, just leaving the leather sort of piece of it, and he'll actually grab some dirt or like slime algae from the rock around them, kind of like get it in his hands, like under his fingernails, and kind of like get it on his face and his clothes and stuff, and like muss up his hair a little bit so he doesn't look like bad, but he definitely doesn't look like he like has a bunch of money or anything like that. And he almost like instinctively does it. He's just sort of like very absently like, I'm going into a like criminal underworld. Let me just like put my outfit on.
I imagine that as we see Locks doing this, there's like a pan cut to show somebody else's reaction from the group, like, what?
I think Sylvie's looking out at all of these stalls, and Sylvie's market tailoring mind never turns off. And so she's always just keeping her eyes out for any kind of fabric or any thing that would, bits and baubles that would catch her eye to potentially buy for dresses and garments and outfits.
Certainly. And I think a lot of the fabrics that you see here are, you know, the fashionable things that you saw many years ago kind of come through Alidalgo. But some of them are very fine fabrics indeed. Like a lot of them are certainly not poor quality. And you might even recognize a bolt or two that came from your shop. Maybe not even ones that were thrown out by you. Maybe ones that just disappeared at some point.
She kind of smiles. She's not upset kind of growing up and having starting out her shop in like a poor, like a not like a less great part of town. She can't count the number of times that she has gone, you know, maybe nabbed a few clothes off of a clothing line or in the dumpster of other tailors. And so she just nods. And I think she would keep an eye out for things that are, just anything that would be particularly of interest or new to her. I also think she would think to herself, well, if I haven't missed the fabric, then obviously I didn't like it very much.
The moment that your group kind of enters the edge of this place, business doesn't even skip a beat. You know, the people here just continue what they're doing. Some of them throw looks your direction, but mainly it seems to be those who are throwing a greeting in the direction of Armand, welcoming him back. Several of the children, however, do stop their play and immediately come running up in your direction, and have their hands kind of thrust outward towards you, and are playing with, you know, the hems of your fabric, you know, the buckles on your shoes, all of the finery that some of you are wearing, and several of them are most certainly begging for a handout. Kind of very thickly laying on the titles, you know, calling you Signor or Signora, and Lord and Lady.
Vera will hand a couple coins out to some of the kids, but she'll just say, no, not, I'm not a I am nothing special. It is fine. And she'll just hand coins out to him.
They kind of play fight over the coins a little bit, trying to take them from one or another. A few of the children like pick up, square or spare bits of laundry or fabric that happens to be kind of laying about and kind of fling it over their shoulders to make themselves look like they're now dressed in a fancy jacket or a dress, and they start to kind of prance around with their hands kind of held out in an exaggerated form of what must be the way that they see all of you.
Yeah, Guillaume will just turn to the group and say, I would be insulted if it wasn't so damn adorable.
Armand seems unperturbed by any of this, kind of leading you across the open space and towards a building that looks a little bit larger than the rest. You can see as he passes, again, almost everybody stops what they're doing to greet Armand. Almost every single person that you pass at least turns and nods or smiles. Some of them bow. Some of them hand him something and just thanking him profusely. Some little wrapped bundle of breads or coin. Many people you see slip him small bundles of coin. And he just nods and he hugs people and he kisses, the children on the forehead. He's very much in his element here. He is a man of these people, and there's no doubt about it. He leads you across the space towards this somewhat larger building, and you see a very... most of you would probably consider it crude, but it is a handmade sign hanging above the door that says the Mischievous Man of War. And inside you can see people drinking and having fun. This is very much a tavern. And Armand enters, and as he kind of throws open the door, the party inside stops and everybody turns towards the door, raises their tankards high, and gives out like a hey! And he kind of throws his arms wide. Welcome, everyone. I bring new friends. And he kind of like bows and gestures to allow all of you to enter.
Guillaume will do his customary fanfare upon entrance, just because it's the first time and he's got to make a good first impression. So there's like just a little like sound of like, and they're like some illusory, smoke, and he'll kind of bow a little bit.
Yeah, the crowd seems stunned for a moment, and then they all erupt into a roar, applauding you. Several of them like kneel down on the ground and like pretend to bow for you, in a very drunken state of mockery, but in good jest.
And Guillaume will just like pure performer give back the like, oh no, it's too much. Please, on your feet, my loyal subjects. Just like playing it up for the people that seem to be enjoying it.
Vera's going to step away from Guillaume. Like, way to the side. She actually probably would head straight up to like, is there like I'm assuming a bar of some sort where there's drinks and stuff?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. She'd head up and approach and just kind of put her hands up on the counter and patiently wait to be served.
Yeah, and like as dingy as a lot of the place down here looked whenever you entered, the Court of Forsaken is very much kind of a piecemeal place. The inside of the Mischievous Man of War is very much kind of slapdash put together, but it is very clean. All of the glasses are clean. You don't see dirt and dust and grime here inside. It seems like this is a very well-maintained place. you're only at the bar for a moment before an individual comes over and says, "Yes, what can I get for you?"
I would like 5 rounds of whatever you have that will help me forget the day.
Whew, I understand. I think we have all had days like that. Let me see what I can do for you. He's gone for just a moment, and he comes back with a small keg, this cask of, it's basically just like a small squat barrel, and he kind of slaps it down on the bar in front of you and says, "Now this is a cask of dwarven ale. It is quite strong, but I promise, should you indulge, it will treat you right."
She'll kind of motion to everyone else and does anyone want a drink? Dwarven ale?
Well, I find it impossible to say no to the generosity of others. And he'll take one. Thank you, Vera. I appreciate it.
I'm personally particularly fond of dwarven brew, so yeah, sign me up.
I can't let Lox partake without partaking myself, so I too will have a glass.
Yeah, Sylvie takes one as well. She nods to you. She's kind of, though she takes it, her eyes are kind of darting around, not suspiciously, but just in their usual, like, very, just reading the room, reading the crowd, reading people in general way. She wants to kind of look and see if there's anyone who's paying particularly close attention to them. I'm sure they're all being gawked at, but maybe someone who is being a little bit glary, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Roll me an insight or perception.
I'll do insight. Okay, 14.
Okay. So, like you said, there isn't a set of eyes in this place that hasn't studied each one of you as you've entered. Some of them more than once. Definitely lingering in the places where they might expect, a coin purse to reside, or a particularly fine weapon that might be hanging from some of your hips. But everyone also, you think, seems to realize that you're here with Armand, and that seems to be like an unspoken no-go kind of thing. But there is an individual in the corner, a younger girl. Your guess is probably 13 or so. She has been eyeing all of you particularly close since you came in. Not necessarily in a malicious way, but definitely sizing all of you up.
Sylvie's going to go to Vera and just, as she takes the mug, she mutters under her breath, "I think we have a particular fan." And she nods over to that corner.
What do we do about it?
Sylvie just shrugs very nonchalantly. She does not seem... She seems harmless. I think that just keep an eye or two on her.
Guillaume, being oblivious and somewhat stupid in social situations, will just turn And just like wave at her and wave her over.
I would like to try to stop him from waving before he gets at it. After his grand entrance, Vera's keeping close eye on what he is doing, and as soon as he goes to reach up, she kind of grabs his arm and says, "Your fiance will get jealous if you're talking to someone else."
I feel, and he takes a moment. Oh, no, she's not until she's, I'm not. And he just gets very flustered and kind of forgets what it was he was trying to do.
I think Sylvie looks to Vera with a smile and just winks. Good to fluster him. Redirect instead of scold the man-child. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the next moment that anybody might cast a look that direction, the girl's gone. After just a few moments of Armand kind of making the rounds of the room, he turns to whichever of you is the closest. Please, my friends, this way, to my office. We have business to discuss.
Yes, of course. Lead the way.
So you bring your drinks, and you follow him kind of towards the back of this establishment. You pass, a set of stairs that likely leads up to what you're guessing are rooms. You see several individuals in the throes of passion, partway up the stairs. Some of them must be plying Vera's trade, and you're guessing that must lead to rooms upstairs. But Armand definitely kind of leads you through the collection of them kind of in this back hallway and through a heavy door that is the first metal door that you've seen since you've been down here. Though they keep this place pretty tidy, it's hard to keep the ever-present rust from kind of eroding some of the iron. But you can tell that though this is rusted kind of in the deepest places where the hinges are and things like that this door is maintained. And it swings open with a little bit of a creak, and he gestures to the place beyond, which is surprisingly kind of well appointed. Almost has elements of a trophy room. You see various sundries here and there that look like expensive jewelry, some artifacts that you're guessing might have even come from overseas somewhere. You see no shortage of weapons and armor around the room. And oddly, in a prominent place behind his desk, there is a rather beautiful holy symbol to Ganal, the god of protection. He moves across the room and lowers himself into a very comfortable but patched-looking chair behind a big wooden desk that has a couple of bricks stacked up under one corner, since it appears to be missing one of its legs. He kind of puts his boots up on the corner of the desk and reaches beneath and pulls out like a crystal decanter, untopping it and pouring himself a rather large serving of what looks like port. He says, "Well, my friends, please find a place to sit, be comfortable."
Lox would drop into one of the chairs and sit there and sort of swirl his drink a little bit, take a sip. All right, so you got us out of a pickle. What can we do in return?
He kind of like wags a finger in your direction, Lox, a couple of times. "You are a man who gets down to business. I like that. Directness.
I just don't like to waste time. I'd rather get this over with and keep drinking."
A man after my own heart. Yes, it is true. The way that this world works is when our back is scratched, then yours is scratched in return. It just so happens that it is the favor owed to me that we must now discuss. The truth of the matter is that, as close as our family is here, there are those who do not like the way that I handle things here in the Court of the Forsaken. So they have taken it upon themselves to form their own family. And now, as it would happen, they are starting to cause me some trouble in my dealings within the city here in El Hidalgo. As it would appear that you are comfortable moving outside of the reach of the law, I was thinking that perhaps we could help one another.
What precisely are you hoping will happen to these malcontents of yours?
Well, chiefly they should be taught the error of their ways, of course. Whatever means that you see fit, he kind of raises his glass. It's entirely up to you.
I think you might have us confused. I am but a simple seamstress, not somebody who will go out and, break knees.
A simple seamstress, he says with kind of a heavy air. Then he smiles, showing that golden tooth again.
Yeah, I do think Sylvie would kind of blush at that. The fact still remains. I sew things. I'm not a very demanding person.
Well, sometimes these types of individuals do not always respond best to force. Sometimes cleverness is the right approach. And certainly, my dear, you have plenty of cleverness.
If you're letting us do it our way, then we might be able to help you out. But we need to know more up front.
Of course, I will gladly tell you anything that you need to know. Where should we begin?
Well, let's start with who these people are and how they pissed you off.
As I said, they were once members of our family here in the Court of the Forsaken, and they decided that they wished to run things in a different manner. Truth be told, they do a lot of the same business that we do here in El Hidalgo, but their methods are less than savory. If they continue things, they're going to draw more attention than we need down here. And they are prone to now attacking many of us whenever they run across us.
Sorts of shenanigans are these people getting up to that's drawing attention?
Well, instead of simply taking what it is that they need and distributing it the way that they see fit, many of them have taken to killing, and they are sloppy with it.
Why not tip off the Justicaros, let them sort them out?
The trouble is that this other family knows many of our passages. They walk the tunnels that we walk. They work the secret distances that we work around the city. If the Justicaros were to discover these places, well, that would be very bad for business.
That makes sense. How many folks we talking, and where are they hiding out?
He kind of drops his boots off the desk and sets his drink down in a gesture that you read as a bit more serious. Our latest estimates are that there are 3 to 4 dozen of them. Their numbers seem to grow. They they are rats. Well, not entirely. They are were-rats. Are you familiar with lycanthropy?
I'm sorry. I thought you meant that metaphorically. They're literally rats.
Well, both apply, I think.
Sure. Yes. And he just kind of leans back, looking a little shocked at this new information.
And did they come by this affliction before they broke off from y'all, or is this a recent occurrence?
Well, he kind of like taps the edge of his glass. This family here in the Court of the Forsaken, many of us are so afflicted.
Got it.
But
Oh, I get the name now.
he kind of like stops for a second, and then when it dawns on him, you see that gold tooth flash again. Sometimes names are not as clever as they appear.
And are you?
Oh my God, Vera, you can't just ask someone if they're
That's a little bit personal.
I mean,
Am
I
I
don't think
so
it's anything to
afflicted?
be ashamed of. I'm just curious.
You are asking if I have lycanthropy.
Yes.
Well, as it so happens, yes, I do. You can see that this, for the first time, this is kind of a crack in his veneer. This kind of, you can see, has an undertone to it whenever he admits this.
I was going to ask for an insight check when he asked it, but I don't think I need to roll it.
Yeah,
now,
it's
so-
not hard to read, not at
Yeah.
all.
Okay.
I
I was just curious.
Yeah. Anybody who wants, as a matter of fact, you can roll perception.
Never mind. I was far too engrossed in his eye color or something. I noticed nothing.
His shirt is unbuttoned rather low.
Okay, that's probably it. I was seeing if I could see his name.
I got an 11.
Okay. So yeah, nothing amiss. Nothing seems really out of the ordinary. He just definitely seems... it seems to be a weighty subject with him.
Well then, you're asking for us to deal with this in any way possible. Do you want them all exterminated, or do you want us to bring as many back as we can? Is it certain individuals? What information can you have us about? Like, she kind of just starts rattling all these questions off. Like, what information can you give us about how to combat someone of this
Well,
affliction?
first and foremost, I don't know if bringing any of them back is in the cards. If they choose to come willingly, then perhaps we can give them a chance. But most of them have already taken things too far. I don't know that I could ever trust them again as a part of my family, you see. As for what to do whenever you encounter one of these individuals, I recommend to not be bitten. That is, of course, unless you wish to join my family in a different way. But I am certain that all of you are exhausted after your escape, as epic as it was. Please, I have taken the liberty to go ahead and assign a few rooms here at the Mischiefs Manor that you can stay as long as you would like. As long as you are working for me, you are part of my family, and you have my protection here. Please, rest, have your fill of drink and food, and whatever other hospitalities that we may offer you.
Yeah, we'll need to discuss the arrangement amongst ourselves, make sure we're all on the same page with things.
But of
So,
course.
time and space to do that would be appreciated.
Certainly. He kind of stands up. I can show you to the rooms right now if you would like.
Lox would stutter slightly and say, actually, I would like to talk with you in private if that's okay. And he would look to the other four.
I think Vera would stand up and, well, come along, everyone. I am feeling like a song. Let's go back downstairs. This ale is loosening me up.
Guillaume will stand up, having heard Loxley say he wants to speak to him privately, and just like, well, I'll just fuck right off then.
Great, we would love that.
As you go to leave, he kind of moves to a small chest on a bookshelf kind of closer to the door, opens it, and all of you can see like several pieces that are absolutely, without question, like ladies' jewelry, and the kind of jewelry that you would expect to see on some nobles at a fancy gala. And he kind of moves that stuff out of the way and pulls out a large stack of coins, and he hands each of you a platinum piece as you leave. He says, please, as I said, enjoy our hospitality, but make sure that the people who are providing your service get paid.
Vera will
Okay.
take a coin and head downstairs.
Okay. The four of you exit, and once the last of you has left, Armand shuts the door, and he turns and says, well, what is it that I can do for you?
So you've got beef with the captain?
Rocatore. See,
Yeah.
like I said, he is a bastard.
He's actually the reason I'm here in Aladago. I didn't have any intention of coming back here, if I'm honest.
So, you are from Alidalgo, but have only recently returned, and it is because of the Capitan?
Yeah, that's about the long and short of it.
I see.
Left a long time ago. He reaches in and he pulls out this signet ring and he'll just slide it across the desk. And it's like obviously old. It's silver, but it is kind of like burnished, tarnished. And the signet is a peacock feather crossed over a dagger. And he slides it across. The Count took something from me. I am here to get it back. And it seems like you could stand to benefit from him not being around anymore.
He listens to what you're saying with like rapt interest and reaches down and picks up the signet ring, studying it closely. This is not a crest that I am familiar with, but it certainly looks genuine. How long ago did you say that you were here?
About 30 years.
Years.
I hope I can trust your discretion. That signet ring belongs to a family that does not exist anymore.
That would explain why it is that I do not recognize it. But as far as discretion goes, you certainly have it. I hope that I have shown my good faith in allowing you here amongst my family. It is clear that I trust you.
You seem like a man who's not going to go out of his way to do something that won't benefit him and his. And it seems like you and yours would stand to benefit from this. I intend to take down the captain. What can you tell me about him?
Well, my friend, you have decided to bite off quite a large chunk if it is the Capitan that you are going after.
I'm in
afraid...
no rush. I've waited a long time.
I see. I recognize that look. And he kind of like again wags his finger at you. That is the fire of vengeance.
Call it what you will. It's just unfinished business.
Okay. The Capitan is a dangerous man, as I am sure you know. He has weaseled his way up into a fine position, right beneath the wing of the Padre Primero. It will be difficult for you to get to him, but if there is anything that I can do to cause such a chance to arise, I will look into it.
I appreciate that. He takes the signet ring back.
And on the conversation of discretion, once again, I hope that I have yours in return.
Of course.
Should you run afoul of the Justicaros again and get caught, you have not heard of me, and you have never been here.
I've been called a lot of things in my life, but never a rat. And he'll stand up and make for the door.
He laughs at the joke, and then flicks you a platinum piece with his thumb across the room. Enjoy yourself, my friend.
Catch it. Much obliged.
Okay. So while that conversation was transpiring, the other four of you, you could either hang out in the common room and get something to eat, something to drink if you'd like, or you could make your way up to the rooms that have been set aside for you here in the inn. Which would you prefer?
Vera is going to absolutely head down to the common room to get food and probably at some point, pull her lute out or her pan flute out and sing and entertain and she's going to kind of take a moment as they're walking down the stairs. Maybe if there's like a corner or an alleyway or something, she's going to grab Guillermo and she's going to pull him aside and she's going to look him like right in the face and she's going to tell him, I know you love yourself and I know you think everyone else loves you, but while you're down here, you do not reign supreme. You are not these people's lords. Just don't get us killed with your mouth.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't think I'm these people's lord or master. I just have, 40 new friends to make downstairs.
She's just going to kind of sigh and she walks towards Sylvie. She's, I don't even know why I bother.
If he wants to get into a fight, then we don't know him. He just wandered into our group. Who is he? We don't know.
Brilliant. She'll loop arms with with both of them and then walk downstairs, leaving him upstairs.
I don't know what I did. We'll just follow, shaking his head.
Chimaran will go down a couple of steps before relinquishing the arm that Bear has grabbed him with. 1 second. It's a quirk, I know, but I have to go check out those rooms. And he would go upstairs and try to find someone that would maybe work there to find out where the rooms are that they have been put aside for us, and to find out about it. In fact, once he finds that person, he's going to ask them if any of the rooms in particular have a private bath.
Okay. So you're shown to kind of it's still upstairs, but like a separate wing from where the other rooms seem to be, the rooms of pleasure. So when you ask about a private bath, however, the individual that you have asked just kind of like closes her over chemise or whatever, and she just kind of laughs and shakes her head and walks away without answering your question.
Like none of them. I have this platinum. Really, none. And then proceed to look at the rooms and what the states are of them.
Much like the rest of this place, the Mischiefs Minotaur, it's well appointed. I mean, it's furniture that has seen better days for sure. It's been patched together here and there, but it's well maintained. It's well upkept, and the linens are fresh. Now, some of them probably have stains on them, but you can tell just by the smell and the feel of them that they are clean.
And are they like single rooms?
So each one has 2 beds in it. Some of them are a little bit larger than the others, but so you've been given 3 of the rooms. So amongst you can decide and determine who it is that shares the rooms with who.
Perfect. I'll lay claim to one of them, and as say it such, when any of them come to find a bed. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it seems like Chimaran has claimed one of the rooms to himself and has left the other 2 for the 4 of you to decide how you're going to split.
I know Sylvie is just dying to share a room with Guillaume, so
If Guillaume wants to wake up not alive,
Yeah, I was gonna say he'd wake up dead.
Sure, Sylvie will share a room with Guillaume.
I mean, if that's gonna happen, then Vera wants to share the room with them just to watch the murder in process.
Yes, watch, not assist.
That's what she'll tell the Justicaro too.
Justicaro, dear, wouldn't just dump his body in the canal we rode in on.
No, list me as witness, not accomplice.
Yeah.
And as much as I trust the saint and all of his rat friends, family, I'm going to spend a considerable amount of time looking around the room that I have chosen, making sure there are no little peek holes or little hidey places, that kind of thing.
So roll me an investigation check.
Yeah, about that. Okay. Oh, it's all the dice and it's a 7, so that's how good I am.
Yep, you spend a considerable amount of time looking around,
Terrible.
but you don't find anything out of place. It looks solid.
Good. Makes me happy. But I will have been gone for like he said, a considerable amount of time that it is probably noticed amongst the four of you that I am nowhere around.
I do think while we're down here and while like Vera is doing her playing and whatever she's doing, I think Sylvie is just kind of sitting, looking around again, just kind of observing everyone. She's taken out the scrap pieces of fabric that Locks had given her and is already like putting them together with the little sewing kit that she has. And I think it would be she's just trying to like keep herself busy, and I imagine that she sees a lot of these rats that are kind of running around, and she kind of holds her hand out to one. She lifts it up, and in a few moments of Vera playing her songs, she has made this tiny little cape for this rat. And she puts it around the rat, just kind of like looking at him, and you look beautiful.
Maybe to your surprise, the rat actually like stands up on the hind feet and like actually twirls around as if being fitted.
You know, it would be very easy to test out my skills with such tiny little intricate pieces. You have done me a great service in trying out my fabric.
The mouse kind of gives you a curtsy, and then squeaks and runs off. And a few moments later, the bartender brings you a glass of wine. This is from a friend.
Sylvie takes it and looks around to see if there's anyone looking at her or after receiving it.
You don't see anybody, but just as you're about to kind of give up your search, you spot the little rat with the cape near the bar, kind of just like standing, like looking over the tops of the heads of the patrons seated here. And when the glass is delivered, you see it kind of drop down and then scamper off.
Sylvie just smiles and takes a sip of her wine. Thank you. I have a question for you. There was a young girl, and she points to the corner that she was in. Did you see her?
He kind of looks in that direction. Oh, yes. Yes, that one is a little rough on the corners, I'm afraid. Please forgive her.
No, it was nothing. I was just curious. Who is she, if I may ask?
I have not had the pleasure of learning her name as of yet. She's fairly new here. She has just been taken in maybe a week past. She sometimes comes here for a bite to eat, and she never has the coin to pay. But, as she is a part of the family, for now at least, we can let it slide.
Yeah, Sylvie nods. There's you can see there's a note of concern across her brow as she looks kind of back to that empty corner. I see. Well, thank you. I appreciate such a warm welcome to us strangers. It must not be easy.
There are times whenever those who stand the highest in the world above look down upon us, and it does make it hard to be friendly. But if Armand has decided that you are worth it, then you have my friendship.
Yes, he does seem to believe in us for some reason. She laughs and takes another sip of the wine.
He kind of laughs again. Yes, it is a trait of Armand's that is both endearing and sometimes troublesome.
She nods again. Yep.
Enjoy, please. You notice as he kind of like turns and walks away from you, at some point one of the kids, like, you know, 2 or 3 of them from out in the street that have been playing, kind of have burst through the front door and are kind of roughhousing and things right in the atrium. And you see one of them kind of quite brazenly reaches for Guillaume's coin purse, and Guillaume is not paying attention. And the barkeep like reaches out and grabs this young boy's wrist and just kind of like pulls his hand down to the side and just kind of gives him a firm shake of the head. And the kids like sweep back outside, continuing their rough play.
I think that Sylvie, if Sylvie sees this, is like the tiniest bit disappointed that didn't happen. But turns back over to hear Vera's playing.
Vera, if you would please, as you are playing for these people, go ahead and give me a perform roll.
A 15.
A 15. Okay. Would be a... Okay, so... Okay, so you are given coinage and some semi-precious gemstones that are worth 20 gold from appreciative patrons here in the tavern. Many of them have, kind of moved from having engaged conversation to like side chatter while they pay more attention to your playing, and they seem genuinely appreciative of having somebody who knows new songs, probably for one, and a pretty face to play them for them. So they're definitely kind of enraptured by what you're doing.
Okay. I think she'll continue playing, and she'll collect it, and she'll take the money that's being offered to her and the gemstones and stuff. And when she is all done, she'll go back over to the bartender and she'll hand all of the money and the jewels to him, and she'll say, I, I didn't do this for money. If there is an orphanage or something down here, children or something, just use this to feed people. I don't need this. And she'll slide everything over to him and give it back to them because she doesn't want to take from these people.
He seems genuinely touched. Well, thank you. It's very, very kind. And he kind of nods his head. I will see that it goes back into the family, where it can do the best that it can.
Thank you.
think by
But oh, could I have another one of those dwarven ales while we're at it, though?
Ah, yes. And he kind of reaches over and grabs the cask again, kind of like tilts it. It may be the last. And he kind of like fills the glass 3/4 of the way for you.
Thank you.
I think once you're done, Sylvie goes up to you, Vera. Well, either Chimeran has not been, I have not seen him in a while. He must have been distracted by his own reflection again. It was hours the last time. That is why I don't let him into my shop often.
Have you ever noticed how Chimeran can't stop looking at himself and Guillaume can't stop hearing himself? It's very... They're like two peas in a pod.
Yes, they are cut from the same cloth. You know, you could put them in the room together and Guillaume would talk and Chimeran would look at themselves and they wouldn't even know each other was in the room.
I think Vera practically spits some of her drink out as you say this because it just, yeah, she. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Maybe if we need to split rooms tonight, the two of them should room together.
I agree. Maybe that way Guillaume will end up alive.
It probably has the highest chance for success.
But maybe we should go check on him still. As Sylvie kind of starts heading upstairs to the rooms.
You had something just a moment ago, Austin? Do you want to add something?
Just that well, while Vera was playing, Guillaume was getting drunker and drunker, and by the point that she was midway through her performance, I think he probably like kind of hopped up and started doing like some like illusions and prestidigitations to like supplement her performance. Whether or not she was inviting of that or welcoming of it, probably not. But he thought it was awesome, and he was like elbowing people. Look at the thing behind it. I'm doing that.
They are eating it up with a spoon, 100%. They're loving this. This is high performance theater for these people.
Vera does not look happy that Guillaume's doing this, but when she sees that the people are actually enjoying it, she kind of acquiesces and is a little bit okay with it. She may at one point attempt to play an extremely fast song just to see if he can keep up.
Yeah, the illusions get like a little sloppy in between transitions. But like, he's mostly there. Like he's 7/8 of the way there to keeping up.
Fantastic. the merriment that goes on inside the mischievous man o' war is heartwarming. It's raucous fun, and there's, like I said, plenty to eat, plenty to drink, and though the low station of such a place might have you thinking that there would be little in the way of palatable comforts to be had, it does not seem like it is short on delicacies. And at some point, Lox, you happen to be glancing out a front window, or the door opens to permit people in and out or something, and you see out in the street a face that you recognize. It takes a moment because it's been a little bit of time, but you recognize this individual as a boy you once knew by the name of Luke. He looks like he's kind of up to his old ways. He has an individual by the scruff of the shirt and is flanked by a few goons. He's somewhat dragging this poor fellow through the group, through the crowd.
I think that I set my drink down and I would exit the bar and head toward the group. And they're like hassling somebody. They're like trying to steal money from him. Are they like beating somebody up?
Right now, you can see that he has this individual just basically with the front of his shirt kind of in a balled up fist, and is more or less dragging him semi-consciously kind of through this crowd.
I speak up. Hey. And if he doesn't turn to look at me, I'll say, Luke.
When you say his name, he definitely stops dead in his tracks and kind of looks up at you, kind of looking in the area where your voice came from for a moment before his eyes settle on you. And you're certain they look over your eye patch, and the corner of his mouth kind of turns into a bit of a wry smile. And he says, Loxley.
Flattered you remember me.
It is not
See,
often
you're up to the
that...
same bullshit.
Well, the catches are smaller. And he kind of looks down at the man who's kind of like limply kind of hanging by his fist.
Let him go.
I must be confused. And he kind of looks around. When did you arrive here? Today? Yesterday, perhaps? Last night? I'm sure that I would have seen you had you been here earlier than that.
Why does it matter how long I've been here?
Because that means that I have been here longer than you. Which means that you don't have any right to tell me what to do.
You can choose to do what I'm telling you to do, or you can't.
Or what? Loxley, tell me, what will you do when you lose your second eye?
Put him down. I'm not going to ask again.
Still, the boy pretending to be the Lord, throwing around his weight, telling people what to do, stepping all over all of us who are just the common folk, and trying to paint himself as the hero.
We grew up in the same alleys, Luke. No difference between you and me.
No difference between you and me. You may have spent some time in the street, but only one of us was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, Loxley. You pretend to be this, any kind of gestures around, to be one of us, but let's be honest, it was never a good fit.
I'm getting tired of listening to you talk, Luke. And I will kind of sweep my coat aside, sort of like gunslinger style, so that the hilt of the rapier is showing. Put him down.
The goons on either side of Luke kind of start to step forward, pulling cudgels and daggers from their belts, and Luke holds his free hand up towards them to kind of like stay them. Shakes his head. You know, I never thought that I would see you again, Loxley, but it turns out that today may just be a good day after all. And he hands this guy off to one of his goons, and then kind of puts his hand on the hilt of a rapier by his own side. Before he can draw it, however, suddenly Armand has appeared. And moving forward, he puts his hands on both of your chests and kind of pushes a little bit of distance between you. He says, Now. We have rules here. We do not fight amongst family. Unless, like, there's kind of like a hush that falls over the crowd. Unless we do it in a civilized manner.
This one doesn't know how to fight in a civilized manner.
But he will obey the rules just the same. And he kind of gives Luke like a hard glare. Which of you has taken issue with the other?
Me with him.
Very well. Your name?
Loxley LaCroix.
Very well. Loxley LaCroix, do you wish to challenge El Pescatore?
Yes.
Very well. Then we have a duel. And the crowd just like explodes in applause. And I think that is where we're going to end our session.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So. All right. This is incredible. Thank you all so very, very much once again for another phenomenal session. I cannot wait to get back to this game and see how this plays out. I'm really excited. The duel rules are something I've really wanted to have an excuse to try. They are taken directly, well, I say directly, they're taken from Hyperspace D6, which was designed by Matt himself, and kind of ported into D20. So I'm hoping that it all plays well with each other and works out nicely. But I'm really excited to see how it all works. So it sounds like we might have a little bit of an excuse to use them the next time around. Thank you all so very, very much for, once again, just knocking it out of the park and just rolling with the things that I throw in your direction and always building on them and making them better. It makes running this game such such a joy, honestly. So I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can give any parting words that they would like, touch on again anything that they might have going on that you can kind of follow them, and we're going to call it an evening. So we'll start in reverse order with Karen.
I love this game. I'm so glad we came back to this. It's been a long time. It was a big break, but yeah, it was worth this. This was amazing. I just love this. I cannot wait to see what happens with Locksley and Luke, and I am so excited for the very first duel. Yay!
Yeah, I'm super duper excited. I think this is going to be a really fun tangent or chapter, so I'm super excited to be getting into it. All right, next we have Austin.
This was a blast as always. I don't really have a whole lot to add. I just want to say thanks for running the game as always, Jeremy. This is super cool. I can't wait to see how the duel goes, and I can't wait to get into some of the backstories of some of these other characters and their secrets and their histories, because I want to know I really want to know what's up with Locksley and the captain of the Justicaros. I am super glad that I like made sure to listen to him speak for long enough to like have him locked in for the actor feat. And so like at some point I'm gonna disguise myself as him and like try to infiltrate something. I have no idea what, but that's just something that's on my to-do list. I got him and I got the Pasta Primavera. I got them both like locked into my mind. So I'm ready. But I'm just psyched for this to keep going. So
I'm super excited for it as well, man. That pasta al dente is dangerous, so yeah, you gotta be careful with it. Next up we have Im.
Yeah, this game is so much fun. There's so much working behind the scenes, and I just love, I love all the characters. I love the banter. I love all of it. So yeah, it's great. I'm very excited we're back into it, and I can't wait to play more.
Very much the same. Thank you, Im, as always, for all of you. Just bringing such realism to your characters, such depth, that it enables me to play off of all of those nuances that you are all bringing to your characters. It makes it surprising for me to find how the information is going to surface. A lot of the things about your characters I know, obviously, because it's things that we've worked on together, but discovering when you're going to choose to to parcel that out or how it's going to come about, it's always just such a joy. And watching everybody else's reactions to the new information being uncovered is just what I need. All right, next up we have Matt.
Hey everyone, I'm Matt, and this game was like what I needed tonight. This was so fun. I had such a good time, and it was fun to like kind of dig into Locksley's backstory stuff. I wasn't really sure when that was going to start creeping up, and I just saw an opportunity with this Saint of Rats guy, and then Luke showed up, and I was like, oh shit! So I can't wait to stab him. That's going to be great, and I really hope that I don't fucking die during the duel, because that would be so anticlimactic. But I'm really excited for it, so I can't wait for the next session. Thank you, Jeremy, as always, for having me.
I can't wait for you to stab him either. I just wish Chimeran wasn't going to miss it all, because staring in the mirror and all. But
we'll see. Chimeran may not miss it all. This is definitely a big to-do, and there is no escaping, at least hearing the commotion, I don't think. That tavern's about to empty out pretty soon here. All right, next, last but certainly not least, we have Kenya.
Yeah, thanks. What can I say but what everybody else said? I'm so glad we're back at this game. It's just, this is going to be interesting. But, of course, as Lox's lover, Vera's going to have some words of encouragement to whisper into his ears before this starts or something, so she can give him some inspiration and, maybe a couple pats of healing points or something. I'm going to work something up to help him out there, but, not going to let him go into the fight naked. And we're not really lovers, but I mean, these people don't know that. So, but yeah, I'm so happy to be back here. It's so great. I just love all of it. I sometimes feel a little bad for how bad we pick on Guillaume. So but Austin rules with it so brilliantly that it just encourages all of us to kind of crank it on a little bit more. So yeah, I'm just thank you, and I can't wait till next game.
Absolutely a pleasure as always. Again, thank all of you so very much. This wouldn't be half as good, not even half, with the amount of effort that all of you have put into the characters that you're playing, and for showing up and bringing your A game. So it's deeply, deeply appreciated. Likewise appreciated is anybody who happened to watch, whether you tuned in live with us this evening or you may be watching at some point in the future. Sincerely, thank you very, very, very much. I love doing this. I would be doing it even if nobody was watching, but the fact that there are people out there who enjoy these games and who want to see more, that makes my little artist heart just go thump, thump, thump. So thank you. If you do like this kind of stuff, hit the like button, subscribe, share links and stuff to the videos with your friends. Share it out. Bring people into the family, as Armand would say. But yeah, thank you as always, and until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.